Fastermind, good evening and welcome to the Manx Radio Folk Show with me, John Barker, playing the best in folk and roots music from the Isle of Man and around the world. And we start this week with a darkly comic song about the First World War by the Pogues.
One summer evening, drunk to hell, I sat there nearly lifeless. An old man in the corner sang where the water lilies grow, and on the jukebox Johnny sang about a thing called love. And it's how are you, kid, and what's your name, and how did you bloody know? In blood and death, 'neath a screaming sky, I lay down on the ground, and the arms and legs of other men were scattered all around. Some cursed, some prayed, then cursed, then prayed, then bled some more. And the only thing that I could see was a pair of brown eyes that was looking at me. But when we got back, labeled parts 1 to 3, there was no pair of brown eyes waiting for me. I'll a rove and a rove and a rove, and I'll go for a pair of brown eyes. I looked at him, he looked at me. All I could do was hate him. While Ray and Philomena sang of my elusive dreams, I saw the streams, the rolling hills where his brown eyes were waiting, and I thought about a pair of brown eyes that waited once for me. So drunk to hell, I left the place, sometimes crawling, sometimes walking. A hungry sound came across the breeze, so I gave the walls a talking. And I heard the sounds of long ago from the old canal, and the birds were whistling in the trees where the wind was gently laughing. And a rove and a rove and a rove, and I'll go. A rove and a rove and a rove, and I'll go. And a rove and a rove and a rove, and I'll go for a pair of brown eyes. For a pair of brown eyes.
Pogues there from their second album, Rum, Sodomy and the Lash from 1985. I think that's still one of Shane MacGowan's best songs ever. Now for something by the Gloaming, contemporary Irish-American music supergroup. They formed around the long-standing partnership of fiddle supremo Martin Hayes and the amazing guitarist Dennis Cahill of Chicago, who very sadly died in June this year. They are joined in the band by Sean Nose singer Iarla O'Linnet and Hardanger fiddle player Quiveen O'Reilly and jazz pianist Thomas Bartlett. From their first self-titled album, this is Sailor's Bonnet. The Gloaming there with Sailor's Bonnet from their first album, self-titled The Gloaming. Next, a song by Chris Drever, solo this time rather than in the wonderful group Lau. It's Poor Man's Son from his 2006 album Black Water.
There's a bank across the road. My ma hangs around my neck. Point the pistol and tell the Claire I'm not a bad man, I'm just a poor man's son. So give me the money and nobody gets hurt. Deputy sheriff points his gun at me. You'll never learn, oh well, you Mickey. I'm starting to think that you like that cell, and you can't wait to go to hell.
The things that I used to do, Lord, I won't do no more. The things that I used to do, Lord, I won't do no more. I used to sit and hold your hand, baby, cry, begging you not to go. I would search all night for you, baby. Lord, in my search would always end in vain. I would search all night for you, baby. Lord, in my search would always end in vain. But I knew all along, darling, that you was hid out with your other man. I'm going to send you back to your mother, baby. Lord, and I'm going back to my family too. I'm going to send you back to your mother, baby. Lord, and I'm going back to my family too. 'Cause nothing I'll do that please you, baby. Lord, I just can't get along with you.
That was the great Guitar Slim from 1953 with the things I used to do to get us into the mood for Blues Club, which is happening tomorrow night from about 8:45 in the Railway in Douglas. I'll be there playing with the Big Wheel Blues Band or the House Band, whatever we call that night. It never has quite the same lineup from month to month, but we always enjoy ourselves. Thursday nights, the Ramsey Folk Club. Fridays, the Trad Session in the Mitre, also in Ramsey. Sunday afternoon, there's a session in the Ginger Hall from about 1 p.m, I should think. Of course, as well as Blues Club tomorrow night, there's also the O'Donnell's Trad Session. Last week we had a visit from a piper called Paul from Beverley in East Yorkshire, playing the Ilium pipes. It's so nice to hear the pipes in the session. I recorded a little bit of it and I'll play that for you now. Remember that everyone's welcome at the Trad Sessions, whether you want to play, whatever your level is, or whether you want to just come along and listen, that's great too. So here is Paul from Beverley with lots of the regulars from the O'Donnell session: Pat, Mary, Susan, Tony Finbar, Daryl, Cesar and Mick. I'm not sure what this tune is called, so if anyone knows, do let us know. Staying with musicians on the island, I've really been enjoying the album A Drop for Neptune by Trip, the Glasgow-based band that includes Isla Callister. From it, here is For Marie, which was written by Isla for the Scottish fiddler and teacher Marie Fielding. Marie tutored Isla at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland and has been a great influence and support to Isla and the band over the last 4 years. This contemporary 7/8 Manx tune, which begins with fiddle and piano and it builds to a powerful 6-piece arrangement, it is a tribute to Marie. Some more pipe music now. I love the sound of Northumbrian small pipes, and this is the Catherine Tickell Band from 1991 and The Desperation. Two more new releases now. Luke Daniels and the Covers have released an interesting album this year, a mixture of tunes, and as their name suggests, some covers of unlikely songs such as Staying Alive, Superstition and others. But I've chosen a tune, Karen Bridge. But before that, in response to an email which came from Deepest Rural France from Julian P. Owen, they asked for a track by Keston Cobblers Club. So here from their new album, Alchemy, is Junctions. And don't forget that you too can get in touch with the show via the email folkshow@manxradio.com.
In the Florence city walls near 800 years ago, there lived a boy, there lived a girl who were across each other's worlds. Curious as though it seems only twice they met indeed. All the other times were dreams, or in the words of poetry. Dante, Alighieri, and Beatrice Martinari. Seasons and years combine, time flies by as the dust sets its shadow. Fountains of youth subside, junctions collide, but in life all he could think of was you. times from this fable we could learn. It is true that love is blind, and from blossom there comes life. Dante, Alighieri, and Beatrice, Portinari. Seasons and years combine, time flies by as the dust sets its shadow. Mountains of youth so beside, junctions collide, but in life all he thought of was you. Junctions for life.
Luke Daniels in the Covers there. Covers is spelt Cobhers, just in case you were looking for it. It's from a new self-titled album. Now, the song, John Barleycorn, is one of the oldest folk songs, going back to Elizabethan times at least. Robert Burns published his own version in 1782, and it survived remarkably well from many different interpretations. John Barleycorn, the song's protagonist, is the personification of barley and the alcoholic beverages made from it, beer and whiskey, of course. In the song, he suffers indignities and attacks and death that correspond to the various stages of barley cultivation, such as reaping and malting. This is my personal favourite version. It's by Tim Van Eycken, who's worked extensively with the Waterson Carthy clan, from his 2006 album Stiffs, Lovers, Holy Men and Thieves, Tim Van Eycken and Barleycorn.
Came three men from out of Kent for to plough for wheat and rye, and they made a vow and a solemn vow: John Barleycorn must die. So they ploughed him deep in the furrow, so dry over his head. These three men home rejoicing when John Barleycorn was dead. But the sun shone warm and the wind blew soft, and it rained in a day or so. Barleycorn fell the wind and rain, and he soon began to grow, and the rye began to grow as well, and the rye grew quickly tall, but Barleycorn grew short and stout, and he so amazed them all. So they hired men with sickles to cut him off at the knee, and worse than that, John Barleycorn, they served him barbarously. For they hired men with pitchforks to toss him onto a load. When they tossed John Barleycorn, they tied him down with cords, and they hired men with thresholds to beat him high and low. They came swick smack on poor Jack's back till the flesh began to flow. So they put him into the kiln, boy, thinking to dry his bones. And when he came out, John Barleycorn was crushed between two stones, and they put him into the mashing tub thinking to burn his tail. And when he came out, John Barleycorn, they called him Homebrewed Ale. Put your wine into glasses, cider into pewter cans. Barleycorn in the old brown jug, for he's really the strongest man. Put your wine into glasses, cider into pewter cans. Barleycorn in the old brown jug, for he's really the strongest man. Put your wine into glasses, cider into pewter cans. Barleycorn in the old brown jug, for he's really the strongest man. Put your wine into glasses, cider into pewter cans. Barleycorn in the old brown jug, for he's really the strongest man. Put your wine into glasses, cider into pewter cans. Barleycorn in the old brown jug, for he's really the strongest man.
That's great, isn't it? I love a bit of tremolo pedal on electric guitar. Now, some very sad news came on Saturday morning when I read that Rab Noakes had died suddenly in hospital. Rab was a Scottish singer-songwriter who'd worked with Lindisfarne, Jay Rafferty, Steelers Wheel, and lots of solo work. He'd been a senior music producer at the BBC and Radio Scotland, and in 2014 he found that he had a form of tonsillar cancer and went through a huge series of radio and chemotherapy sessions. After that, he taught himself to sing again with the support of his wife, and in 2019 he came to play at the Institute with Brooks Williams. He was a lovely man to deal with and gave me an EP which he called the Treatment Tapes, which is a series of songs that he wrote as he recovered from his treatment and started singing again. From it, this is Water is My Friend, which is a phrase from one of his radiographers to help him swallow and became a mantra around the house. This is followed by a song that he wrote for Lindisfarne, which appeared on their second album, Fog on the Tyne, in 1971.
1, 2, 3, 4. They tell me I'm in trouble, but I don't feel any pain. Once will be enough, though. I don't need this again. My baby's here beside me. On her I can depend. She'll always bring me sound advice like water is my friend. People looking after me who don't get paid enough, while bankers take a big reward for far less useful stuff. There's a global inequality they shamefacedly defend. Amid their lies it does ring true that water is my friend. I know I'm getting older now, time is getting tight. I use the day the best I can, same with the lasting light. Now I'm not going anywhere, I'll be busy till the end. But this list of things I have to do while water is my friend. Was with someone the other day I've known since we were boys. We marveled at how we get through life's sorrows and life's joys. Like driving in the desert on a road that does not bend. Should the temperature be high and dry, well, water is your friend. Water is my friend. Yes, water is my friend. Still water is my friend.
That was Lindisfarne with Together Forever, sung by Ray Jackson and written by Rab Noakes. Condolences to Rab's family and friends. Now, I can't believe that I've got to my 8th show and not played any Nick Jones. He really is a huge influence on my guitar playing and many others, but I've never quite mastered this particular tune. Here is the greatest recording of a traditional song ever. Controversial, I know. Nick Jones and Canada.io. I might have changed my mind about that by next week, but if you have a favourite and like me to play it, then get in touch via the email folkshow@manxradio.com, of course. I look forward to you joining me next week on the Manx Radio Folk Show. Good night, and here it is.
handsome girl, and she's all in her tender years. She fell in love with a sailor boy, and it's true that she loved him well. For to go off to sea with him, like she did not know how, she longed to see that seaport town called Canady, Isle. So she bargained with a young sailor boy, it's all for a piece of gold. Straightway then he led her all down into the hold, saying, I'll dress you up in sailor's clothes, your jacket shall be blue. You'll see that seaport town called Canady, Isle. Now when the other sailors heard the news, well, they fell into a rage, and with all the whole ship's company, they were willing to engage, saying, we'll tie her hands and feet, me boys, overboard we'll throw her, and she'll never see that seaport town called Canady, Isle. Now when the captain he's heard the news, well, he too fell in a rage, and with all of his whole ship's company, he was willing to engage, saying she'll stay all in sailor's clothes, her collar shall be blue. She'll see that seaport town called Canady, Isle. Now when they came down to Canada, scarcely above half a year, she's married this bold captain, who called her his dear. She's dressed in silks and satins now, and she cuts a gallant shawl. She's the finest of the ladies down in Canady, Isle. Come all ye fair and tender girls, wheresoever you may be, I'd have you to follow your own true love when he goes out on the sea. For if the sailors prove false to you, well, the captain he might prove true. You see the honor that I have gained,